In the same manner as we are encouraging merchants to digitalize their businesses so that they will accept digital payments. So, ito po, the next slide is about actually some statistics about, Filipinos embracing digital payments. I won't go into that because no less than the BSP governor already mentioned that. In fact, we updated our slide because from 20%, we understand that in 2020, 30% now of total retail payments are digital. So you could see the improvement in terms of digital payments adoption. But as I said earlier on, digitizing merchant payments is a priority of the Department of Trade. So we are basically looking at all of the statistics. No? So in the next slide, you'll see very, very clearly that the growth of digital payment adoption has really been heading up. No? So that's a very positive development. On the left side of your screen, which is the cashless payments, according to Statista, mataas naman na si Pilipinas, no? 92%, no? Compared with the other countries in Southeast Asia. But of course, Singapore leads the pack, no? Tayo 92, a little below the Southeast Asia average of 93%. It's high, but we really want to go out there because why? The Philippines, as we all know, we are built for e-commerce. We are young, we are agile. We love to use our cell phone. We spend 4 hours and 10 hours in social media. So we are really we are really built for e-commerce. So sabi natin, let's use some statistics from the DTI, which is something that we are proud of because when we did our business name registration, we are now able to really take note of the type of businesses that business names or sole proprietors go into. Nakita nyo talaga that before the pandemic, that's January to March, we had like about 1,800 of business name applications and that were being issued. 1,800 for PISIC 47913. And what is that? That is the industry classification for retail sale via the internet. As of now, we are already 127,000. So this is only retail sale via the internet. It would be good to do a little bit of some analysis on the growth of business name registration because it is a barometer. It's a barometer of how many people are really now going into digital. Into online selling. So, from between 20 to 2021, parang 381% increase. Namin, inapple-apple namin yung pandemic to pandemic. Diba? So, 2020 pandemic, pre-pandemic, and then nung nag-pandemic na, mataas na rin. So, umabot tayo mga 86,000. So, okay, earlier on, there was a question posed, actually, I think someone asked from the audience. And the question was, how many ba SMEs are so I'd like to share a study that we in DTI did as an input to the e-commerce roadmap. We started crafting the e-commerce roadmap in 2019. And biglang nagka-pandemic. Nung nagka-pandemic, we had to make sure that, it would be pandemic proof, so to speak. So here's something that I want to share as an input of the DTI in the e-commerce roadmap. So we wanted to find out the level of digitalization of micro, small, medium enterprises. So we did a small survey, and we wanted to find out the categories. So there is an ASEAN study that was inspired by this DTI study, which is yung merong basic, intermediate, and advanced. When you say basic, the SME has an email. It is intermediate when it sells to online, and you are considered advanced if the SME uses mga data analytics, ERP, etc. When we did the same survey, similar survey, there was a little bit of an adjustment because hindi na lang basic, intermediate, advanced, nagkaroon tayo ng level 0. Because ito yung level 0 that we realized that many of our SMEs do not use email at all. tayong ganon. Pero meron silang telepono, no? Pero they use it not for business. So, yun yung nakita natin na, if you can see, talagang makikita natin na 23%, there are 23% of SMEs who don't use, no, technology in their business, no? 51% is the basic, and then 21, and then 6. Pero meron kaming special question. We asked them, are you aware of any mobile or digital payment, whether for personal or business? So unaided, tinanong lang namin, ano ba yung digital wallet? 46.3%. Baba, no? Kasi hindi na alam yung digital wallet. Pero nung binigay namin na meron na kaming aided, nako, can you go to the next slide? Siyempre, 92.3% gcash. So many know your brand, no? Undeniably, people know your brand. And you were really top of mind, no? You were top of mind. But I'd like to go to the next information that we'd like to share. So we asked them, those who know, no? Do you use it for business? Do you use for business? Kita nyo, no? You know, people use their wallets for personal, but they don't use it for business. So that's the thing that we need to always understand in the DTI, and that really made a mark. And this is the reason why we do what we do now, relative to the, you know, it's like evidence-based policy making, if you'd like to call it at that. So, next slide please. Makita nyo, no? Tinanong namin why do you not use your mobile wallets? Sabi nila, 54% said, because we're used to old habits. How do we address that? You know, you don't use digital payments because, I don't want to anymore. I'm used to my old habits. 43.8% they said there's no need. Siyempre, we will be shocked, those of us who are, you know, digital natives. What? No need? I mean, business na. So, all of us. So, we need to, you know, breach that, di ba? Yung sabihin, it's a culture thing. 26.8 says doesn't know how to access. But this, 25% has trust issues. No? So, there. So, if you notice, this thing about not needing and used to old habits is, I believe, one of the things why we have e-bayad mo, because it is really an advocacy. We need to make people aware of the back value of digital payments. So there, this is the reason why in the e-commerce roadmap, there is strategy number 5, which is essentially promoting cashless transactions and increase the uptake of digital payments, no? And as I mentioned, no, the action agenda here is to implement the digital payment transformation roadmap of the Bangko Sentral. So you can always see, I'm sure your GCash team would always get to invite you, and you always see us with the Bangko Sentral. I'll make it fast. I only have a few more minutes. So, sige, we'll do this with this, you know, the partnership. Next slide, please. Okay, now let me do a little bit of my 2 minutes because my topic is about ibayad mo. So allow me at this point to sort of tell you what ibayad mo is. It's only a few minutes. So, can we need a question to play, please? Yung nasa TV. Ma'am, dahil mo sa team ninyo na talagang nagko-comment sila sa mga visuals namin, nauna mo sa billing ng GCash. So there, so the campaign objective is basically what I mentioned earlier on. It's two-pronged. It's for businesses to adopt digital payments and also to increase the number of consumers. Why? Because in the e-commerce roadmap, one of our metrics is tied to financial inclusion. So it is to our best interest to make sure that we increase the adoption. No? Para tumaas yung ranking natin, ano? And when we want to see e-commerce grow, no? And make it more robust. Sige. Okay, I'd like to mention that, you know, we are a low-budget department. We don't really have that much, but we do what we can. And since we know the value of social media, you know, it's medyo ano lang po siya, diba? Madali po siya and very effective. So we came up with what we call ang aming mga social media tools. Basically, the messaging would be, if you are a consumer, we always say, dapat alam natin ano ba yung digital payment. So, pag nag-mobile wallet ka, gcash ka, di ba? Pwede ka rin mag-fund transfer, pwede din mag-credit card. So, sinasabi natin, pag ikaw nag-digital payments, we tell everyone that wherever you are, at home, at work, anywhere you are, you can transact. Well, syempre, we have some rules on how to make sure na safe din naman, di ba? We always say also to consumers na wala ka ng problema, hindi ka na kailangan maghintay ng sukle kasi diretsyo na kung magkano yung bayad mo. So, be fearless. Try cashless. That's what we're saying, no? Kasi don't be afraid because the fintechs, the wallets, they have put up significant security measures, one-time PIN, yung mga password natin, no? So, huwag kayong matakot. That's what we're telling the consumers. And then, meron mga bago, like what Bangko Central has been pushing, which is the QRPH. It's so easy now. You go, and then you just, your phone, wala ka ng input, magkamali ka pa sa spelling, di ba? So those are the things that we are promoting to consumers so they'll start adopting, if not adopting it more. We also have what we call the business side naman. We are yun sa mga ako lagi ko nakausap yung nagtitinda ho sa akin ng aking dideliver ko ng bangus sa bahay ko. Dapat mag-gcash na siya. Diba? Kasi wala nang hassle sa pagsukli. Tapos minsan ho, natatandaan na, madalas ho ito yung magpa-deliver tayo, may rider tayo, diba? Tapos, ay, ganyan sukli. Ay, wala akong sukli. Hassle, di ba? Hassle. Tapos samantalang kung bayad ka na, pagdating mo, pick up lang, di tapos na, wala nang usap-usap, di ba? And then, we're saying that for the merchant, it's easy for you kasi you get to know what goes into your wallet. No? So those are the values of the Ibayad Mo campaign that we're having. There are more actually. Sige lang. We do have some more posters. Thank you, Jelly. I know every time you say, oh, we have a media messaging that's going to be introduced. It's like simple and madali. Yan ho yung sabi namin sa DTI, no? Basta e-commerce, madali, no? It's easy, it's convenient. And pag ibayad mo siya, it's safer, faster, and easier. So, I'm so glad because whether government or private sector, we are in sync regarding to the messaging. And this is basically a whole of society approach, and which is quite exciting for us in DTI to see all of this. Especially you have resources and you have more subscribers. So napakalaking bagay po nito. Next slide. Aba, we might be low budget, but we'd like to think that we are naman high on government creativity and innovation. So, nagpagawa ho kami, ayaw na ho namin yung mga AVP, kasi AVP, kahit mo gumawa ho kami ng tinatawag na K-drama. Hindi daw pwedeng gawing K-drama, kasi hindi naman siya K-drama talaga. So, paid drama po siya. I hope that the audience here today, after the session, will watch it. Maybe you can show, it's a 4-part mini-series. Para po siyang Korean drama, para siyang K-drama. Ito po yung QR code, kung pwede ho, baka gusto nyo kunin, tapos mamaya ho, manood ho kayo para tumaas naman ng viewership. Alam nyo ho, and I hope legit, ma'am, sabihin nyo naman the entire Gcash family to watch this. Oo, diba? And then if you put it pa nga in your Gcash website and all, ako napakadaming manonood. It really is promoting digital payments and cashless transactions. Next. Okay, I believe in the power of storytelling. So, I will end my slide with a photo. Sabi ko kasi storytelling daw is the best way. Alam niyo ho, I recently went to Boracay to celebrate my 35th birthday. Wala naman
wow. Okay, happy birthday! Happy birthday!
And sabi ho nila, huwag ka na magdala ng cash-cash kasi Boracay maraming Gcash dyan. Ganyan. Naniwala naman mo ako. Wala akong dala. So, yung pinsan ko siya yung kabilang pinsan ko. Nagalit siya sa akin, alam mo, kailangan mo ng cash, Hindi, ganyan, marami daw Gcash. Sa totoo lang yan hong trike na yan, Gcash po ang binayad ko dyan. Kaya ako yan, sayang lang, wala. Dapat kasi nasa phone niya yung QR eh. So, parang, ayun, hindi pala, nag-ano pala ako, nag-dial pala ako. So, pero Gcash po siya. But, the truth is, there aren't as many. So, can you imagine that I had no cash? So, I had to ask my pinsan to pay for everything. No, but the other option is, what I did, and this is true, I would only choose restaurants where there is Gcash. And Gcash po yung namamayot pag. So, ano po yung last story? So, because of that experience, in one event, there was Bangko Sentral. And our Bangko Sentral, and I shared this with our friends from the Bangko Sentral, and I said, I think we should ramp up our financial inclusion and adoption of digital payments, starting with all of these tourist spots. Because, the DTI, of course, is into restaurants, sellers, selling the pasalubong and all that. So, we must do, and we are already, in fact, our Mindoro, our Region 4D director has asked us really to with your GCash regional office, ma'am, no? We thank them because we've already started there in Palawan. So we'd like to scale that up. We want to scale that up the entire country. And can you imagine, and BSP was so excited, yeah, we'll do that. And then if we all, government, all of the wallets, we all join together, I think, before 2030, we'd see cashless transactions in the Philippines. So, basta po e-commerce na. Thank you very much, Dina, for